Hey, lovelies. Just wanted to drop in and talk a little bit about DV. I have had experience with domestic violence. I can't talk too directly or frankly or openly about it because I am, there's things in, through court and orders that are in place for me not to be able to speak so directly and openly, like many women who've been through a very similar context. So I have been very particular in the way that I move and speak about the violence that I experienced and escaped. In saying this, I want to make it really clear in the recent comments that Pauline Hanson has said that it's a two-way street with violence, with domestic violence. I want to say absolutely not. Absolutely not. In a domestic violence situation, you have a perpetrator and you have a victim. And there is no other. There is no other. Perpetrator and a victim. When you're talking about violence where there has been violence undertaken by both parties, which they call in the family in the family court system as they coin it as family violence. When that has happened, and I'm not saying that it's okay, when that has happened, that does not eradicate the perpetrator and victim dynamic. It only shows that there has been retaliatory violence. And retaliatory violence is where the victim who's undergone domestic abuse, often long term, and has tried to escape or tried to get out of the dynamic, feels that they have no other option. It's generally women, because men, some women are perpetrators, but the bulk of the statistics is males being the perpetrators and women being the victims. In this instance, I want to frame that in this example is that when the victim, mainly a woman, feels like she has no other options, she will lash out. She will retaliate. She will sometimes become violent in a way to protect herself. Now, I'm not saying it's okay, but that does not mean that she is the perpetrator here. Those of you who believe that women or victims who retaliate in these kind of dynamics, that they share some blame and that they are perpetrators also, no, not at all. Have you had experience in a situation with domestic violence? Do you know the statistics? Have you worked in the arena and you've worked with victims in this space? Until you have, you can't formulate an opinion or an ideology of how this actually moves. And if you do, I would highlight and be curious about maybe you are a perpetrator. Maybe you have been in a dynamic where you have been violent, coercively, emotionally, physically, sexually to another person, namely a woman. I do not believe and reject all narratives in and around a two-way street. There is a perpetrator and there is a victim. The perpetrators are generally males, the victims are women, and the women who you hear about in the media and in the community that have gone out and destroyed property or physically aggressed their partner, I always question and believe, not 100%, but mostly that woman is retaliating. That woman has been abused systematically and for a very long time, and she has found no other options to protect herself but retaliating and standing her ground. You also have to remember too in these dynamics that the police are not always responding to these types of calls when women identify perpetrators. The police are often redundant, like their behaviors are so just not protective. I was going to say redundant. They're not redundant. They're just not protective. And the systems that I experienced, the system that so many other women have experienced and have been gagged about talking about, do not protect the victims. They protect the perpetrators. And if you think that this is not in a vacuum, this is an epidemic. This is an epidemic. And we're talking about it, yes, but we're not talking enough about it. And there are no solutions on the table, no long-term solutions, and no solutions to stop this horrific death toll and statistics that continue to climb in Australia for women and children dying at the hands of mostly male perpetrators. I am done, like line drawn in the sand. I'll be speaking about this more. I have a long-term recovery program that I will be rolling out very soon. I have so much more to say on this subject, and so much more that I'd like to say, but I can't, and I'll be choosing my words extremely carefully. But if you hear anything about a two-way street with violence, it is BS, absolute BS. And if you don't listen to the victims who are saying that that's not the case, then the issue exists with you and the community who still victim blame and continue the narrative of actually supporting and protecting perpetrators who are killing women.